Hi. So I thought that I would do a bit of kind of a weird blog for me in that I am obviously, as you probably know, I'm 30 later this year. So I thought I'd do like a bit of a 30 questions before I turn 30 kind of thing. I saw an interview with someone on YouTube the other week, and they basically had a stack of questions, and it was like a 10 questions in however many seconds thing, and they had to pick 10 out and whatever. So I thought I'd do 30 questions, but I'd do it like 10 at a time, 30 for 30. So it's going to be over three blogs, and I've got a stack of questions here that I've picked from various online sites like online icebreaker things, um, stuff to ask when you want to get to know somebody, weird questions, that kind of thing. So I've picked a few, I've picked way more than 30 out, so anything could happen. Well, not anything, because I kind of know what some of the questions are, so, but I'll pick like 10 at a time and just go at random. And there's some very probing ones in there, so you never know what might come out. Not like that probing, obviously, because I chose them. So here we go. Number one question is, if you could visit any place in the world, where would it be and why? I would love to go to Moscow, and I would love to see Lenin's tomb, and I would really like to do like Auschwitz and stuff like that, which sounds really like, I know you're supposed to say I want to go to Thailand and Bali and all these places and really exotic, but that's not where my interest lies. My interest rather lies in all things historical and interesting, and I want to learn things when I go places. So anywhere where it's interesting and I can learn stuff. What I would really like to do, possibly for when I'm like 40 or whatever, is hire a car and do roadside attractions of America, like drive across, do like the world's biggest ball of paint, world's biggest rocking chair, all that kind of stuff. There's that place where it's like a house in a cave. It's like a bomb shelter type place, and it's like please believe it or not roundabout and stuff. So yeah, I'd like to do stuff like that. Stuff where you see stuff that you don't see kind of on a day-to-day basis around here, I guess, would be anywhere on the list there. Okay, so yeah, that's, if that ain't creeped you out, then I don't know what will. Number two, what's your real favourite movie? And what movie do you pretend is your favourite? I kind of feel like a lot of my favourite films people haven't seen or heard of. So I kind of have to go a little bit more mainstream when people ask me. So I often go a little bit more modern when people ask me what my favourite film is, and I say things like, I mean, for a long time, genuinely, my favourite film was Back to the Future, and I do really, really love that film. My all-time favourite film, like 100%, no word of a lie, is Kind Hearts and Coronets, because it's brilliant. It's an Ealing comedy, it's Alec Guinness in 8 roles, I've talked about it a lot, like a lot. But if people ask me, I don't know why, I feel like because it's a little low budget Ealing comedy, it's not quite as high end and Hollywood and glamorous. So number 2 and 3 kind of places on my list of favourite films are all about Eve and Sunset Boulevard. So I kind of lead in with them sometimes. So, but to be honest, I'm really open about the fact that I love those films. So I'm not like, I don't have a non-embarrassing one and an embarrassing one. I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I just enjoy films like of that era. What's the silliest thing you have an emotional attachment to? I don't know really. I don't think I'm a big emotional attachment person. Really, I am in weird ways. I've got obviously like my Cola Ted, that's the same age as me to the day. He's like an emotional attachment, I guess. If anything happened to Cola Ted, I don't know what I'd do. I really don't. But I don't really have much that's silly. I have normal things that I have emotional attachments to. Like I've got Grandma's tea set, and I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to have an attachment to. Is an antique tea set that was like your grandma's wedding present. I don't think that's a weird thing. I don't think that's silly. But I guess a teddy bear that's wearing a Coca-Cola jumper when I don't even like Coke, that's probably up there. Yeah, I really don't like Coke, so it's quite ironic that he's my most prized possession, I guess. Just checking what question we're on. Number 4. What's the most random thing in your purse or wallet? So, vouchers for things, expired fan foods vouchers that I haven't yet cleared out, receipts for things that I don't remember buying, train tickets from like 4 years ago, they're in there. I have in my wallet usually some stamps, but that's fairly normal. Cards for shops that I don't really go in very much, like Paper Chase, but I always give them it when I go in there, and I've genuinely no idea what I'm doing with it. I have my 5 membership card, but that's not crazy. That's useful. Is that okay? Although it does look like my staff discount card at work, so I do occasionally have to check which one I'm getting out when I go and buy something from work. But yeah, I guess that's a bit random. A 5 official fan club membership card that I've had about my person for the better part of 2 decades. Guess that's a little bit random. I mean, really and truly, I don't often have to flash it places, so I guess that. But you know, it's staying in there for definite. Question number 5. 5, ironic. If you could meet any historical figure, living or dead, who would you choose and why? That's kind of a bit of a two-hander, because do you say somebody like Hitler, because it'd be really fascinating to see actually what made him tick and why really because you can hypothesise till you're blue in the face about why Hitler went down the path he did and why he had such kind of the anti-Semitism and why he turned out to be the man that he became. So really interested to meet someone like him or Mussolini or, you know, someone like that, someone really evil. That'd be interesting. But then on the other hand, there's lots of like famous historical women that I would love to meet. You know, love to have met Nancy Astor, first woman to sit in the House of Commons, first female MP. Love to meet her and find out what makes her tick, because she was really cool. She was pretty badass. I have a bit of a historical kind of weird female love of Catherine of Aragon, just because she was so much more of a queen than Henry VIII deserved. He did not deserve to have a woman like that. That he went off fighting his petty little war in France just to have a scrap and a bit of a barney, and while he was away, the Scottish army attacked, and she basically led the defence and defeated them, and James IV got beheaded, and she wrote him this brilliant letter saying, "Don't worry, everything's fine our end, kill James IV, you take your time, old son." Not in so many words, but that was the gist of it, and she did all that at 7 months pregnant. Like, she's just everything that you want a powerful female icon to be, and I love her for it. So definitely would have liked to have met Catherine of Aragon. She's quite high on the list. But yeah, Catherine of Aragon or Hitler? Where do you go with that? Where do you go? I mean, living or dead? These all dead? Living figures? Oh my god. Obama? Who wouldn't want to meet Obama? He's the coolest man on the face of the earth. Yeah, too many options. For a history nerd like me, yeah, love him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you were to perform in the circus, what would you do? I'd have to be the ringmaster, because I don't have any discernible skill that's practical like that. The one thing that I could do is I can lay on my back and put my feet behind my head, and it's something I've kind of always been able to do, and I don't know why, but I don't think it's much of an act, to be honest. I don't think it's very entertaining for the audience if I just walk into the middle of the ring, lay on my back and fling myself backwards. So I'd probably be the ringmaster and just kind of control it all and wear a top hat. That'd suit me down to the ground, really. I'm not going to tightrope walk. I'm not going to juggle. I'm not going to be a trapeze artist. They don't have animals in circuses nowadays, and rightly so, so I'm not going to go around parading with elephants. There's not much left for me to do, really. I suppose I could get shot out of a cannon, because that doesn't actually require much by way of skill. I'd just get in and off you go, but yeah, I don't think anyone wants to see that. I'd be too afraid of that anyway. So yeah, not really cut out for circus life. Who knew? Question number 7. Would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button on your life? if I could pause it, but then still go about my business while the world was paused and I was pottering about in it, then I'd rather do that. I wouldn't want to rewind it because, dear God, why would you want to like relive everything over and over again? That'd be horrific. Nobody wants that. I would want to pause it and then have another 20 minutes asleep, or pause it and go get a few more jobs done in the day. Pause it in Morrison's on a Friday night when everyone's scavenging over like the cheap trolley. Pause it, get what I want, get out of there. Because, dear God, I nearly got caught in the scrum last week. Could have really done with a pause button then, so that'd be ideal. So yeah, pause button. That's what I really want. And then whenever like I do something clumsy or accidental, pause it, put it right, press play, off you pop. There you go. Jobs are good and pal. Then that'd be ideal. That'd be ideal. If you knew you could not fail, what would you do? I would write a book, become like an author, write a book on maybe like the Magnificent Seven Cemeteries in London, get it published, become a sellout author, doing book tours, something like that. Or I would write a TV series, like in the kind of Lucy Worsley, Susanna Lipscomb kind of vein, and yeah, do something like that. If I knew that I couldn't fail and that it would, be financially viable, and that was what I wanted to do, I would do that, hands down, any day of the week. Getting paid to potter around castles and potentially dress up and, all that. I'd do that if I knew I couldn't fail. I'd just jack it all in tomorrow and go off and have adventures around castles and blog about it and write about it. That's what I'd do. That'd be cool. Question number 9. What childish thing do you still do as an adult? A lot of things. Drink a lot of squash. It's pretty childish. But I don't like proper fruit juice and I don't like pop, so drink a lot of fruit juice and like squash juice. I sit on the floor quite a lot to watch TV. I have the comfiest sofa in the world. Everyone that comes around sits on my sofa says you have the comfiest sofa ever. And I spend a lot of time sat on the floor watching TV. Just because I find that when I'm sewing or I'm writing letters, I like to have things scattered about me, and I can sit and lean back and have my tea on the side and have, postcards or whatever sat around me, and I find that quite nice. I sometimes come in and make chicken nuggets and watch Muppet Treasure Island. That's pretty childish. I watch a lot of kids' films, a lot of Disney. It's probably pretty childish. I think I was born middle-aged though, so it's quite difficult to discern where the childish side lies and where the things I did as a child were actually quite weirdly grown up. Kind of where that line falls, I don't really know. So I probably still do quite a lot of things I did as a child, just purely because the things I did as a child were what people in their 30s would do. Yeah, that's probably more like it, actually. People are probably watching my childish list going, that's not childish. You're just, strange person. Okay, last question of this blog would be, if you could only wear one pair of shoes for the rest of your life, what would they be? If I could wear one style of shoes, I'd just live in Converse trainers because you could have different colours for different occasions. Black for funerals, white for weddings. Dead easy. They're really comfy. Someone that kind of spends their life in steelies, I don't cope well in posh shoes and heels and all that palaver. So something flat, comfy, chuck them on your feet, off you go. I have a pair of black Converse that I must have had for 8 years now. Must have had them that long. I have a faint recollection of buying them when we were in Florida, and I last went when I was 22. So yeah, I must have had them for 8 years. But they are so comfy and they are splitting. And they are on the way out and they're finally about to give up the ghost, and I love them so much. I'm going to have to buy some more. Even though I've got loads and loads of trainers, a proper good pair of Converse trainers, Mine are black with like metallic-y thread, so they're not formal by any means. Let's not go insane here, but they're not like your scruffy average get mucky trainers. But I do wear them to within an inch of their life, so that's what I would wear, definitely. So there's 10 questions. I don't know if you know a lot more about me now. You know that I slob around in Converse trainers watching Muppet Treasure Island, and I'm intrigued by Hitler and Catherine of Aragon. What more do you want to know? Well, I tell you what, why don't you watch another vlog and you'll find out more. How exciting is that, everyone? Super exciting, right? I know.